Hey polish fans, it's Caroline and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. And in today's video we are doing an exciting video because we are swatching the new Sinful Colors Scented Collection. So I tracked down all 9 polishes. I finally found the elusive So Matcha Better at Walmart. So now I have the entire collection and I think I'm going to swatch them in rainbow order so you can see the pinks side by side. We've got a coffee brown and then a more metallic dark brown. But you'll see all of these here in just a moment, so let's get swatching. Alright, so the first one that we're going to swatch is this soft pink. This one is called Bath Goals. And this one is a very light pink, and as you can see, it's got this green shimmer running throughout it. This one seems like it's going to be a beautiful one for spring, a very nice, almost neutral leaning pink. It's definitely not a Barbie pink or a soft bubblegum pink. It is definitely more on the neutral side. So let's go ahead and see how this one swatches. Oh, and this one is supposed to be scented like a milky bath. So this is definitely a very soft look on that first coat. You can kind of see the green shimmers flaking throughout it. Very beautiful and soft, delicate color. Like I said, I think this one is going to be absolutely beautiful for spring. And I will be curious to see how it compares to the other pink. Offhand, I think the other pink is more of a coral leaning pink. So we'll see how those two compare once I do swatches of both. And I think I'm going to let this one dry completely before I go in with a second coat. So for right now, that is one coat of Bath Goals. And we'll come back later with that second coat. Next up, we're going to look at the second pink. This one is called Salt Bath Babe. And this one is more of a coral leaning pink. Again, with that green shimmer, although I do think it is a slightly different shimmer. If you see those two side by side, there's a slight difference there. Bath Goals is more of a green glow, whereas the shimmer in Salt Bath Babe is a little bit more of a larger particle there. Let's go ahead and see how this one swatches. And this one is supposed to smell like Himalayan salt. So this one definitely is more of a peach leaning. As you can see side by side, this one's coming across as more of an icy pink compared to the new one that we just swatched. But very complementary to each other. Might make an interesting gradient as well. And we'll come back later with that second coat, but this is just one coat of Salt Bath Babe. Very cute, another good one for spring. The next one that we're going to swatch is this beautiful cocoa brown. This one is called Coffee Drip and is scented like coffee. So this is another one that has a beautiful shimmer running throughout it. This one is more of a sort of pink and gold. It'll be interesting to see how this one comes across on the nail. It is rather subtle in the bottle, but you can definitely tell that it's there. So let's go ahead and see how this one swatches. So this one is definitely a light sort of pale mocha color on the nail. Very soft on the neutral side of the brown family so far. And that shimmer is really beautiful. Hopefully you can see that on camera. It is, again, very subtle, but it adds this beautiful rosy glow from within that's really beautiful. So that was one coat of Coffee Drip. Nice soft neutral. Might make a very nice backdrop for some spring manis. Next up, we're going to look at this darker metallic. This is definitely a deeper color than the rest of the ones that we've looked at so far. It's one of 2 of the dark polishes for this spring collection, and this one is called Smoky Palo Santo, and it is scented like Palo Santo. So I'm not sure how that's supposed to smell, but look at that beautiful shimmer in there. This is sort of this silver flake, almost a glass flake, so it's a larger particle shimmer in there. So let's go ahead and see how this one swatches. Wow. So this is very pigmented. My goodness. I think if you were careful enough on your application with this one, this could be a one coater. Look at that. Wow, that's very impressive. This is a very beautiful shade. I love how the shimmer looks on the nail. I think this is the first one that I can smell. And it's not even dry yet, so that's interesting. It's sort of a incensey scent is what I'm getting. And don't worry, I'm not smelling it straight from the bottle or anything. That's just the scent that is wafting towards my nose. So that was one coat of Smoky Palo Santo, and we'll definitely come back later with that second coat, see if we can't build up some of that beautiful shimmer. Next up, we're going to swatch the one that I'm most excited to see, and that is this beautiful purple, and it is called Lowkey Lavender. As you know, I am a huge fan of purples, and look at the glow in this. It is so gorgeous. It's got this beautiful bright pink glow. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm a total sucker for colors like this, so I cannot wait to see how this one swatches. So let's go ahead and see that first coat. This is another color that I think is going to be absolutely beautiful for spring. Really gorgeous. And just a spoiler, if you haven't seen my spring rack already, a few of these made it to my spring rack. Beautiful color there. Definitely can see that pink glow on the nail. It's almost a blue leaning purple on the nail. Very nice. So that was just one coat of Lowkey Lavender, and we'll build that up here in a moment. The next is our second dark shade. This one is the navy blue. This is called Beach Vibes. And now we're getting into ones that are just a straight cream. As far as I can see, this is just a blue cream. I don't see any shimmer, no glitter for sure, and definitely no flaky. So I'm curious to see how this one is going to look, especially compared to other blues in my collection in this family. But I get the feeling that I may not even have anything quite like this. It is a beautiful, rich, kind of ever so slightly dusty leaning navy blue. So let's go ahead and see how this one swatches. And scent wise, this is scented as Ocean Breeze. Ooh, all right, so this is a little bit squishy. Very beautiful color. Not quite as dark on this first coat, so I'll be curious to see how it builds up on a second. But that's a really beautiful color. A little bit more vibrant than I was expecting, and I'm not mad at it. That's really interesting. I think I will like this for spring. I was a little confused with this as a spring shade, but again, I will leave my final judgment after I have the second coat on this, but so far, I really like that color. So that was just one coat of Beach Vibes. Next up is another one that I was really excited to see. This one is a beautiful soft minty green. This one is called Eucalyptus. Very sort of spa inspired, and I love that. That is so neat. The eucalyptus is a very relaxing scent. It reminds me of my childhood because I used to go to a beach that had a eucalyptus grove, so the scent is very nostalgic for me. So I'll be curious to see how scented this one turns out to be. But in any case, I know I will love the color because it is beautiful. Sort of this dusty, white leaning soft green. So let's see how this one swatches. Ooh, yeah, this is beautiful. Very heavy white base for sure, but I love that in a spring polish. That's gorgeous. This is another one I think that if you were very careful in your application, you could get this opaque in just one coat. Very beautiful. I think that is going to be one of my favorites as well. So that was Eucalyptus. All right, so on to another green. This is the one that I had the hardest time finding. Unlike the rest that I was able to find quite easily all in one place at Target, this one was a Walmart exclusive, so I had to find it at Walmart. And the initial Walmart that I visited didn't have any Sinful Colors at all. I think they might have been in the middle of a redesign of their nail polish section, so I was completely out of luck and I could not find this at all online, but I knew it existed because I had seen other people swatch this collection. So I wanted to try to track this down, and I finally found it in the Port Orchard Walmart. So now I have this one to swatch, and I'm really glad that I found it because this is another one that I think I'm really going to enjoy. It's a nice, soft, kind of more yellow leaning green than the eucalyptus one. Really beautiful, two very different shades of green, And I definitely like the dusty tone, and it's a bit more on the earthy side, whereas the eucalyptus one is a bit more on the vibrant side of things as far as these soft colors. So let's go ahead and swatch this one. And this one is called So Matcha Better. And this one is scented like matcha tea. Definitely a yellow leaning green, very nice. I think this one would be beautiful in some spring nail art. Look at that. You get a very nice side-by-side comparison with the eucalyptus green there. So the matcha green is a little bit more yellow leaning, but they both have that lovely soft white leaning coloration of a beautiful spring collection. I really like those. And honestly, even though they are both just cream polishes, I don't think I have anything exactly like them. So definitely two very different greens and two very beautiful shades. So that was just one coat of So Matcha Better. Just look at that, that is beautiful. So last but not least, we have this one here. This one is very hard to describe. This one is called Chamomile Calm, and it is scented like chamomile. And this is definitely not a color I would have picked up if I had not been trying to collect the entire collection to swatch for you guys. But it was one that once I saw it in stores, I was rather intrigued. So honestly, I don't know how I will like it. It is very outside my wheelhouse. It is sort of this mix between a tan, a yellow, and a green. It is very unusual. I for sure do not have anything else like it in my collection. So let's go ahead and see how this one swatches. This is another one that is in a cream formula, so no glitter or shimmer. I guess on this first swatch, what it reminds me of is like a honey mustard. This one is a little bit on the squishier side compared to some of the darker ones like Palo Santo, but very interesting. I'll be curious to see how this one swatches up with more coats. It's still outside my wheelhouse. I can't say I'm immediately in love with it like some of my favorites from this collection so far, but it is an interesting one to have in my collection, and I do think that having unusual colors like this works well in nail art. What I have found is if I only stick to colors that I really, really love to wear as whole manicures, then when I'm trying to do, say, a bouquet of flowers, fall leaves, or something else, a sunset, anything that requires multiple colors on top of another color to create a scene or a pattern, colors like this can provide a really interesting contrast on top of the nail and provide just that interesting color in your design. So I'll be curious to see how this one works in that sort of a situation. I can't say if I will wear it on its own just yet, but let's go ahead and do second coats on everybody, and I'll be back in a second. All right, so here you have it. We have 2 coats of each polish, and I've let them dry so that I can get a little bit of their scent. And I will say I can smell a bit from each of them. I don't know that it was the best idea in that regard to have them side by side, because it was a little bit difficult to pull out some of the softer notes like these over here. However, I definitely could smell sort of a soapy note coming from Bath Goals, and if that is scented like a milky bath, then that definitely fits the bill. I'm getting sort of bubble bath notes with that one. Then the peachy one is Salt Bath Babe. That one, I really can't tell if I smell that particularly, but I do smell a little bit of something different in between the bubble bath and the coffee notes. As far as the scent goes with the coffee, that is really good. I definitely smell a little bit of coffee, a little bit of sweet notes in there as well, so it's not just strong coffee. The Palo Santo definitely has a strong scent to it. If you're sensitive to scents, I probably would avoid this one because this one is definitely the strongest scent of the bunch. Lavender is also fairly strong. I definitely smell a lavender note with a little bit of something else that I can't quite pinpoint. Then onto the Ocean Breeze one, I definitely smell something there. It reminds me a little bit of those wax melts that you get that are a little bit ocean leaning. There's a little bit of that saltwater note to it, so I definitely smell something there. The eucalyptus I feel was sort of washed out between this scent here, so I really wasn't able to pick up a very strong eucalyptus scent. The matcha, I think I smell, but again, it sort of is hidden by the more powerful notes of the other polishes. Chamomile, I think I smell. It does smell a little bit tea-like over in this general realm of the nail polish ring. But like I said, I do think as far as giving you guys a good idea of the scent notes, having them this close together was probably not the best way to do it. And I had thought about it prior to filming, but I thought, well, you know what, I can smell just fine. So I will keep that in mind if I ever have another scented video coming up. But let's go ahead and take a better look at these strictly for the color. So this one was 2 coats of Bath Golds, and I definitely think that the 2 coats built up quite nicely. It is a very soft pink with that little bit of green flash to it, just a little bit. I think you can see it nicely there in the bottom of the bottle as well. Really beautiful. Then we've got 2 coats of Salt Bath Babe. This one was the one that was scented like Himalayan salt. So you know what, it's possible that both of these were having that little bit of salty bubble bath. But this is a beautiful sort of peach leaning pink, almost a little bit on the neutral side, but definitely a peach. And the larger particle shimmer in there is a little bit subtle on this one, but it is coming through and adds a nice little depth to the polish. Then we've got 2 coats of Coffee Drip. This one is a beautiful sort of neutral leaning polish. Very nice soft brown tone. And that beautiful red to gold shimmer in there adds a really beautiful warmth to the color. Very nice soft shade there for sure. Then we've got 2 coats of Smoky Palo Santo. This one was definitely a dark polish. The second coat on this one definitely sort of evened out the coat, even though I still think if you were careful enough you could get this opaque in one. It is a beautiful rich color, definitely a unique one for spring. I don't know that I would necessarily pull this out very often in the spring, but again, with the nail polish art that you do for like bouquets of flowers or trees or a number of things, I could see this being very nice to use to get the details that you're looking for. Next, we've got still my favorite. This one's Lowkey Lavender. This one is beautiful and just 2 coats. I will say with this, it's possible that you might need 3 coats if you have a prominent nail line, but it is a beautiful color, definitely a lavender purple with that beautiful pink shimmer. Really like this one. Then we've got this blue. This one is Beach Vibes, and this is just 2 coats. This definitely is still a little bit on the squishy side, but it is opaque, so it did deepen to that color that you see in the bottle. Very rich and dark. Another one that isn't exactly your standard spring color, so it's very interesting to see it, but it is a nice blue color. Then we've got another one of my favorites, which is Eucalyptus. And this is definitely one that I will be putting into my spring rack. So if you haven't watched that already, I will post the link up above here. Beautiful soft green, and I really like that. Next, we've got this one, the soft green called So Matcha Better. And I'm definitely glad that I tracked this one down because it is a beautiful shade of green. It is nice and soft and delicate. A little bit, like I said, of that yellow leaning green, but beautiful color. And I really don't think I have anything quite like it in my collection yet. So very glad to have that one. And then I will say happily that this Chamomile Calm one has sort of grown on me. I do still think that it looks like sort of a honey mustard leaning color, sort of a mix between a tan and a yellow with a little bit of green in it. So it's still just such an interesting color. I know for sure I don't have anything like it. It is what I would call sort of a pruggly color where you're either going to love it or you probably will hate it because it's such an odd color. But let me know what you think. If you have it and you've worn it, let me know how you've worn it. I would be really curious to see what your thoughts were on that one. And there you have it. That was the new scented collection from Sinful Colors for spring 2021. Let me know which ones were your favorites down below. And if you have these, let me know what you thought of these scent notes. I'd be curious to know what you think of the Eucalyptus especially, because that is one of my favorites. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in that next video.